Hi, it's Sharon here from Butterfly Lullaby, and the date is the 18th of August 2021. Yeah, we really need to stop using pesticides. I stopped using pesticides years ago when I found out how bad they were for nature, and I love nature. I love our bees and our butterflies, and they're so important. Without bees, we're going to have no food. And I know that we've got other pollinators, but they're all suffering because of pesticides. So we really need to try and do our bit for our children and our grandchildren's future. When I wrote my book, Butterfly Lullaby, it's a fairy book, I started to realise how important nature was to us and, our planet. And I just thought, no, I'm going to stop using those slug pellets. And I care about birds as well. And I just didn't want to poison any creatures coming into the garden that were eating the slugs, like badgers, etc. And I just thought, no, I've got to do my bit here. So I stopped using pesticides. And I've got a lovely garden. I don't care about the odd leaf that's been nibbled or whatever. You can invite frogs and birds into your garden, and they can take care of the pests. We don't need pesticides. We just have to rely on nature and invite nature in. So I'm going to put the link in the description of how to help stop pesticides and save our bees and our food source. So please share this, even if you've got no money. I mean, my business was destroyed by evil elites, British elites, so I've got no money. It's a long story, but I managed to put £1 towards it. Even if everybody tried to put £1 or just shared it, so other people that have got the money could just give £1 and share it on and share it on. It's so important we do this because our children are so important. I actually had a serious asthma attack because pesticides were used near my garden. We've got a new neighbour, and it's not their fault. It's because, they're scaremongered into thinking that, oh gosh, if we don't get rid of this Japanese knotweed, we're going to, devalue our house. People are scared, and they don't want to lose value on their property. But we need to think outside that box because, Japanese knotweed is a herbal medicine. It's grown on Prince Edward Island for herbal remedies, Resveratrol. So it's not as bad as people make out. And I've had this plant in our garden for 18 years now, and it's nowhere near the house. It's not ventured into my neighbour's garden because I keep it away from the fence. The only reason it came into my garden from the new neighbour's garden was because they were too scared to cut it down near the fence because of all the hoo-ha that's in the media. And, I ended up having a serious asthma attack when they ended up using pesticides, a company that used really, really toxic pesticides right near the fence. And I'd asked the neighbour to come and have a look to see whether knotweed was coming into our garden, but he had a bad back, so he said that he couldn't pop over and have a look. So for me, I just felt that, why should I have to have... I've got an organic garden. I want to grow organic food because I know how important it is to grow your own food, etc. So why should I have to have a dangerous chemical used right near my garden when all I'm doing is protecting nature and our health? That's so unfair. And it's not my neighbour's fault. It's because of the banks, it's because of the media and the governments, and they need to stop doing this because they're not protecting us. They're not protecting our children, they're not protecting our planet, they're not protecting our bees or our food source. So we have to do something about this. So I really am begging for your support here. I haven't had such a severe asthma attack to have to go on the nebulizer at the doctors that I did when pesticides were used near our garden. I will put links in the description of how bad pesticides are for our lung health. I want you to think about that. We've got a pandemic here. Now, asthma is lung related. COVID is lung related. Why would anybody promote pesticides in a pandemic that affects the lungs? We need to stop this and stop it now. I'm going to put this link in the description, so click down to the description and click on the link to just read all about pesticide and asthma, and just understand that asthma is lung related like COVID. You can't breathe with asthma. COVID, when you get COVID, some people cannot breathe, so it's really important we take this seriously. Before I met my friend who's an ex-nurse, I was very, very overweight and suffering badly with asthma and pains in my legs. I was falling over with pains in my legs. I was in a terrible state. I was on all the inhalers, etc., and strong inhalers. And it's thanks to her that I actually managed to cure my asthma. I'm actually right now in COVID, in our pandemic, I'm asthma, phlegm, and drug-free. And it's all thanks to my friend who's an ex-nurse, because when I went into her house, I just questioned, why have you not got any cakes and sweets and, stuff like that in her house? And all she was buying organically, fruit and veg, eating a lot of plant-based foods, which I really enjoyed them when she cooked them for me. So I started to research my diet, and I was on meat, dairy, lots of sweets and stuff. And then I started to realise when I did the research how what I'm putting into my body affects my body and my lung health. So I started to change my diet, and wham bam, I cured my lung health. And I was fine for 2.5 years, and then my new neighbours used the pesticides to get rid of knotweed, which is a herbal remedy, by the way, which I put in my smoothie, which actually cures my asthma. I put it in my smoothie every day, and even though right now when COVID's here, I'm not eating healthy like I was before. I'm eating my organics, my fruit and veg, and I have my healthy breakfast every morning with my smoothie and my Japanese knotweed in it every single day. But I'm not eating as healthy as I was, and I'm still asthma and drug free. And believe me, I want to do better, not for me, but for my daughter. I do not want to be a health burden on my daughter, because she deserves better from me. I'm her mother. I should be a better role model, and I know that I've got to be better, and I know that I need to liaise with people that create plant-based foods to try and help me get a better menu, and not use oil and sugar in these foods, but use dates to sweeten it. You don't need oil when you're cooking anyway. So yeah, just to sort of keep your lung health really, really good. Here's a witness statement from my friend who's an ex-nurse, and she states very, very clearly how allergic I was to her dogs. She had 2 dogs, and I couldn't go into the house without wheezing, sneezing, and rubbing my eyes, etc. The allergies were just too much of a nightmare when I was on the old diet. And she noticed how when I changed my diet, I was able to go into a house and I'd be absolutely fine, and I didn't need any inhalers, etc. So she's a witness to this, and she's an ex-nurse, but her statement is being ignored. The media won't pick it up. The government won't talk about it. I mean, I've sent this to my MP. She did try. She's a lovely MP. She did try, and she put it forward to the health minister. But even though it's been it's been sent to the health minister, they're still ignoring it because they don't want to, there's too much investment in drugs in the UK. It's like the legal drug pushers, I would say. Okay, yes, drugs are great. And when I needed the drugs for my asthma, I was very thankful for them. And of course, I wouldn't stop my daughter using her inhalers because she needs them now and again. But I feel that, the diet is so important. What we put in our bodies is so important to how we can breathe and function. And, especially with arthritis. I know so many people through friends that have cured cancer by using organic fruit and veg and juicing. And yet these stories don't make mainstream news here in the UK. Ask yourself why this is. Why is the media and the government so scared to share these wonderful true stories? Is it because they make too much money out of drugs? I mean, that's the way I see it. Drugs and pesticides, that's where they make all their money, isn't it? Sick people need vaccines. And look, Boris Johnson looks like he's not very healthy at all. Matt Hancock, well, we all know about him and him kissing his lover and not caring about his children and family. No morals there. Bill Gates, no morals either. Promoting Coke, burgers, greasy burgers, etc. And people listen to these people. Why? Why would you listen to these people? They don't care about your children and families because they don't even care about their children and families. So why should they care about yours? Here we have Japanese knotweed being grown on Prince Edward Island in Canada for a source of resveratrol, which is very popular in herbal medicine and cosmetics. So ask yourself this one question: why on earth would the UK use pesticides on such an important plant when it's being used to treat Lyme disease and helps the lungs? I highly recommend this book, Invasive Plant Medicine by Timothy Lee Scott. If you look here, you've got 1, 2, 3. Now, what does Japanese knotweed do to your body? It transforms phlegms and stops cough. I mean, that's what it's done for me. I've been putting Japanese knotweed in my smoothie daily since, the pesticide abuse. I got it from my herbal friend from Nana's Naturals. And I just don't, I'm living with a dog for the first time in my life without sneezing, wheezing, and just being unwell. I'm off all the inhalers, etc. So this stuff has really helped me. And, even when I went away and I put it in my smoothie and I visited friends and they had different dogs, I didn't have asthma with their dogs, whereas usually before I did. And all my family and friends can confirm this. They can give you a witness to this because they saw me how ill I used to get. I had it for years. I had asthma from the age of 3. That's my first memory, up until in my late 40s. So I know what it's like not to be able to breathe. So nobody can tell me that I'm selfish by what my values are, because I know what it's like to nearly die from an illness, and I'm quite happy that now my body's working, that I don't need drugs and I don't want drugs. I was badly missold on this property. It had Japanese knotweed in it and I didn't know. They cut it all down and burnt it in the middle of the garden, and I'm not sure if they used pesticides as well. They probably did. And also, the blocked off stream, we didn't know about that. That wasn't on the land registry, which flooded down the garden, in the patio, coming into the house. We've been through hell with this house. So I was determined to turn Japanese knotweed into a positive, and that's when I found out it was a herbal medicine. So I found out so many wonderful things about this plant that, I just want people to realise that this is a valuable plant, and it's more valuable than for our health, for our bees, our planet, our children and our pets. So please try and share this information and get something done about it. This website here, who's like a specialist to do with Japanese knotweed, states once the stems dried out, they die and cannot regenerate. Now, I use the dried stems for face oil, medicine, and also for soap making. So, and I've had the plant in the garden for all these years, and I know for 18 years, I know all about Japanese knotweed because I've studied it. It's been in my garden for that long. So, please don't try and tell me I don't know about this plant, because I do. Now, I'm lucky enough to know 2 really, really good people in government. One's a councillor and one's an MP, and they really do listen to people and try and help solve problems, which is their job. But we've got a lot of people in government that think they can just take taxpayers' money and do what they want to do. Let's take Matt Hancock, for example, the health minister, the way he was cheating on his wife and didn't care about his kids, kissing his mistress. Yes, he stepped down, but who are they gunning for? They're gunning for the whistleblower. They're basically saying whistleblowers are not allowed to speak out about injustice. You know, the government is trying to protect itself from all the bad people in government, but they need sacking because they're taking money from the taxpayer and wasting it on stupid pesticides, and they're not investing in organic farming, which they should be doing. They should be, really investing in organic seed saving and sharing and trading, which they're not doing. They're just a bunch of, legal drug pushers that profit from drugs. It's as simple as that. So we need to wake up and start to do our own research and start to talk. We need to talk to each other and try and help solve this problem because it needs solving. And we need to give people in government more power that are worthy of taxpayers' money. Here we have the Great Reset, but here they are, still wasting taxpayers' money on dangerous, toxic pesticides. You've got to ask yourself, hello, what is going on here? Now, overseas, they are actually cutting down Japanese knotweed and making paper out of it. They're saving the trees, which we need to do because trees create oxygen, as do other plants. So, ask yourself, why are we not doing this here in the UK? These people are meant to be academics. They're meant to be very, intelligent people. So the trouble is, when it comes to money, you get corruption. And that's where the big problem is. So really we need more people in government and less people in government that have got too much money and too much power. We need an equal footing here. Here is some of the Japanese knotweed paper I made, and I just drew some little pollinators on there. I don't think the dragonflies are pollinator, but the bees, of course, and the butterflies are. If I can make this paper, I'm sure that there's somebody in Wales or, England, Scotland, Ireland that can make Japanese knotweed paper. Come on, guys. Let's do this. Let's stop the wasted money being spent on, sites where you're dumping Japanese knotweed and paying a fortune to do this when it could be used as an asset and create jobs. Did you know that Lego are actually trying to help the environment by creating Lego bricks with sugarcane? Well, I believe that if they can use sugarcane, they could use Japanese knotweed to create Lego. How amazing would that be? That would be something else, wouldn't it? And also, what else can you make with Japanese knotweed? I use face oil that I make with it. Soap. I've soaked in Japanese knotweed, which is really lovely because there's no chemicals. It's just natural. Resveratrol smoothies, which I have every day, which keeps my lung health really good and asthma-free. Ice cubes, tea. Itadori tea is a famous one. Honey. Did you know that Japanese knotweed actually won an award in America for the best honey? Because it's not like normal honey. They call it bamboo honey. And it's got a different type of taste. But this is how important it is to the bees. The bees love Japanese knotweed flowers. And that's how they make their honey. So, it's worth actually looking into it and looking at all the videos. Jam, chutney, medicine, green electricity. I believe that we can create green electricity. Planty overseas are creating electricity with plants. How fantastic is that? And I think we should use invasive plants to do this as well. Paper, as I mentioned before, clothing. They're making bamboo clothing. Why can't we do that with Japanese knotweed? Flutes. They're making flutes with Japanese knotweed. Well, there's so many other things, it's just non-stop. There's so many things you can create with Japanese knotweed. So why are we wasting taxpayers' money on pesticides to get rid of it? So here we have Timothy Lee Scott's book, Invasive Plant Medicine. And he's a herbalist and he studied Chinese medicine. This book is a must-buy. It really is. It's so important that you read this book to understand what's going on right now and how we need to try and change it around, turn this ship around into the direction it needs to go for our children and our families to have a better health, better life on this planet. I wrote this poem about Japanese knotweed and how I feel I am like Japanese knotweed. Still I rise, cut me down, poison me with lies, but still I rise, bigger and stronger, for I am your medicine, your healer, your friend. Listen to nature and let's rise together, because that's what it's all about, being a team player. Unfortunately, in this world, we don't have very many team players that work together for the greater good. We need to be that team player. We need to share information. We need to get people's voices heard so that something's done about it. Because if we don't, we're just going to end up with a planet that's got no life in it, that's been destroyed by pesticides, where you can't grow your own food, where you can't eat healthy, and therefore you're reliant on drugs for the rest of your life. Do you want this for your children's future? Because I don't. Here we have the scientific studies on Japanese knotweed and Resveratrol. Now, Dr. Michael Greger is somebody that I really respect. I found his videos and they helped me to understand the importance of nutrition in our body, etc. But I do feel he's wrong when it comes to resveratrol, because this plant has helped my lung health. And I'm sad that I can't use it in my own garden at the moment. I need to get my soil tested and the plant tested before I can start using it again, because I was using it for years before the pesticide abuse. And now I have to outsource it from my friend who's a herbalist, and now she can't get hold of it because her Japanese knotweed's been poisoned by these people. Why do they want to get rid of this amazing plant that's such a fantastic medicine? Ask yourself that. Do they want us reliant on drugs? Because that's the way it feels to me. I know what it's like to financially struggle and to try and put food on our plates for our family and our children. So I have great empathy for people that financially struggle. I have great empathy for the homeless who I'd love to help. And I want to do something about it. The trouble is the elite brick walls are standing in my way. I could be creating these Japanese knotweed soaps, the bumblebee soaps, and actually helping families to make these, to trade these soaps for food. We're having so many problems now where people can't feed their families, and I could help them. But what stands in my way? These blinking elites. They stand in my way because the church said that I could make these soaps on their premises. Because these elites and the media, the banks, etc. have made out Japanese knotweed to be such a nightmare, I can't make these Japanese knotweed soaps in the church, and I need somewhere to make them. And I can't show people how to make them. So therefore, I can't help feed struggling families and help the homeless, which is absolutely bonkers, and it's really annoying. I know for a fact, from living with this plant in our garden for 18 years, that the dried stems do not regenerate. Therefore, they are not a problem, and I don't need to take out any insurance on a building to protect it because the plant is dead. But this country says otherwise, and it's making money out of insurance and just propaganda. So I need support here to help stop this propaganda. I want to make other soaps as well. I want to make butterfly soaps because this country, the UK, is so oversexed, it makes me sick. It's destroyed my business. It's destroyed my daughter's education. Oh my gosh, there's so many things I can talk about here. When you just type in innocent children's drawings, it comes up with nothing but disgusting smut, and they think it's funny. They think that these children's drawings, that drawing things that look like private parts, is funny. Well, I don't think it's funny because there's a real serious child abuse problem in this country that needs sorting out. So for children to draw that sort of stuff, not knowing that they're drawing that, makes me question these people, and I think we need to investigate it and find out why they're promoting it on the internet. My dream is to actually one day get funding to create child and family friendly films, art and music, because we need it. Our children are being let down, our women are being let down, and our families being let down by these perverted academic elite perverts that just keep promoting their sex, not love. They don't know what love is, and that's a real shame. I feel sorry for them. The Leaf Japanese knotweed soaps, I want to promote herbalists because, you know, the drug companies think they can squash these herbalists. Herbs are important. I use them all the time. I use plantain. I drink plantain water daily, which helps my lungs as well. I use Japanese knotweed daily in my smoothie, which helps my lungs as well. You know, I just love herbal wild plants that they claim are weeds. They're not weeds. They're only saying they're weeds because they like to spend money on pesticides and profit from pesticides. It's as simple as that. This is me, Sharon J. Bainbridge, at my Butterfly Lullaby book launch at the Dylan Thomas Centre in Swansea. And, you know, I can't believe what's actually happened to my business and how there was a reason for this, though. I'm turning the negative into a really powerful positive because when my website got hacked, and this was after I got to work with Robin Stevens from Children's TV, I thought to myself, when I was trying to get justice with the police and the government, etc., I realised that there was something wrong with our services because they weren't doing their job. Then I went down the rabbit hole, and what I found out was pretty shocking. And so I know how to fix this problem. That's the main objective here, is that I know how to fix it, but I need to be able to talk to people that can help me on my journey as a team player, because it's really important we act as team players to fix this problem together. So, and we've got to do this for our children and our families. So I really hope that you will share this video and try and help me to get our voices heard. And if you've got a story, I want to hear your story. Leave comments below, etc. And I would love an address for people to write to me and complain about government services, the police, social services, etc. So that I can say, look, I've got all these letters, and you don't have to put your name and address on there. It can be private, because I know what it's like for the whistleblowers in this country. We're not being protected. So you can send me these letters, and then I can go to the government and the police and say, look, you're not doing your job. That's what I want to do. So I need an address for people to write to me, because I know we can sort this problem out. And then we just need to have a shift in government and get real people in government that care about our children and our families and our planet. And it's as simple as that. So yeah, I'm really excited about the future, and I hope you are too. So get in contact and leave me a message in the comments below. Bye-bye.